Call this order, the City of Siloam Springs Planning Commission to order. Roll call, please.
Here.
Here. Here.
Here.
Here.
Here.
Here.
We've all received the minutes of our meeting of April the 13th, 2021. If there are no corrections, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes as published. All in favor?
Aye.
Commissioners, I would ask you, because of the mask and the difficulty of the secretary, to please raise your hand for when you make a motion, and also raise your hand on a second. We're having a difficulty identifying who is making the motion. First order of business today is Significant Development Permit SD 21-06, Ben Rhodes.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Ben Rhodes, Senior Planner. Before you is a significant development permit occurring at 22100 Block of Highway 16. This is the vacant field located north of the warehouse/industrial shops by Beehive Inc., which was recommended for approval by the Planning Commission last month. The proposal is for a 61,534 square foot food processing warehouse. If approved, the proposal will add approximately 100 new jobs to the community. Finally, as you can see on the general area map, the property is not zoned. However, the applicant is in the process of applying for the city annexation permit. And this will be presented to the commission next month. Here you see the full site plan. The proposal is for the building with a vehicular parking out front and on the north side. Trucks will access primarily along the southern half of the building and at its rear. On the parking, the applicant is requesting a slight parking reduction of about 10.5%. That was detailed in the memo. The reasoning for this reduction was attached to the memo, but in summary, the 100 workers will not be on the site at any one time because there'll be different work shifts. So we believe that there'll be ample staging area for employees to wait while the first shift is departing to free up parking spaces so they can get in. Here is the landscaping plan. This includes landscaping in the islands as well as along the perimeter of the property. And the slide here shows you how the property will fit in the overall environment. Again, just as a reminder, the Beehive project that was called Timberline Business Park was down just south of there. And here's an elevation view example of what the building will look like that was provided by the developer. With this is Highway 16 out in the front. We got the parkings I mentioned on the north side and out in front there. And then here's another view. This is just looking at a different direction, looking a little more southwest. Here is the site view, how it appears today. We are recommending approval with 3 needed conditions. I'll go over those real quick. First is that the annexation and zoning that I mentioned at the top of the presentation be approved. The second is on the need for some utility easements. And lastly, we need to confirm that the lighting plan meets city code. So this needs to be included in the building plan set. And with that, we are available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Are there any comments from the audience? Commissioners, do you have questions of Ben? With no questions, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, recommend that we approve significant development 2106, subject to the following conditions. The applicant shall annex the subject property into the city of Siloam Springs and request to apply for the I-1 zone as indicated on the significant development permit prior to construction on the property. And the applicant must file a utility easement plat via separate instrument as directed by the city engineer prior to certificate of occupancy. And the applicant shall comply the exterior parking lot lighting city standards, including a photometric plan in the architectural plans prior to building permit issuance.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for approval of SD 21-06. Roll call, please.
Yes.
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 Motion is approved. This does go to the board on June the 1st.
I didn't vote. Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes. Okay.
Sorry, Ted.
That's fine.
Okay, motion has been approved. This will go to the board on June the 1st, 2021. Second item on our agenda today is preliminary plat development permit 21-02. Mr. Rhodes.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commission. For your next agenda item, you're looking at a preliminary plat development permit occurring at 816 Highway 16. As you've seen in the staff memo, this project is not ready yet for your review today due to some outstanding issues with the drainage plan and the pond that really could not be resolved in time for the Planning Commission review. So staff, on behalf of the applicant, is requesting that this permit be tabled into the regular meeting of June 8th, 2021 for the Planning Commission. And this will allow for the needed time to resolve these drainage issues. Staff will give a full report on the project at the June meeting, and we stand ready for any of your questions. Thank you.
Any questions from the commissioners? If not, I'll entertain a motion to table.
So moved.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Sally,
Yes.
Kinney,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Driscoll,
Yes.
Kenzie,
Yes.
Song,
Yes.
Montgomery.
Yes.
Motion to table is approved. This will come back to the board, or to the commission, on June the 8th. June the 8th.
June 8th.
Okay, next item on our agenda is a final plat development permit, FP 2102. Mr. Rhodes, please.
Thank you again, Mr. Chair and Commission. For your next item, what I'm going to be doing is presenting both the final plat and the rezoning at the same time, and that's because they are on the same property. So these are the next two items on your agenda today. So what you're considering is a final plat and rezoning combination, and this is occurring at the 2900 block of Cheri Whitlock Drive, just south of the First Assembly of God Church. The proposal is to split the 7.3 acre parcel into 3 lots and to rezone this land to C2 and GI. As a reminder, the Planning Commission does review final plats when they do not correspond to an identical preliminary plat. So a preliminary plat is not required for this request, as the applicant is simply just splitting the property, not providing any improvements that in turn need to be dedicated to the public. We can't call this a lot split because there's more than 2 lots being created. So here is the actual survey. and also showing the corresponding zoning. As you see, the two left lots here, lot 1A and 1B will be C2 zoning. And then the last lot on the furthest right would be the GI. So in addition to that, we did want to request a cross-access easement, and I'll kind of circle that there for you there. And that would be to allow interconnectivity between these two lots, and for the purpose of allowing less driveway accesses onto Cheri Whitlock. Access management really requires that you have as few driveway cuts as possible for traffic safety purposes. So this one, we didn't include the final lot because this is a dedicated use that we do know will be a church. And so they wanted to have their own driveway. So that's kind of where we're at right now. We do not know what the future plan is for the other lot 1A or 1B. So as far as the future land use map, this is really a win-win for everybody because it fits so perfectly with what the map shows, which is not always the case. But we have the red color shading, that's your commercial and office. The blue is the public facilities. We have GI being the most appropriate zone in the blue shading. And then this is the site view looking to the north, looking towards the church there for assembly. We are recommending approval of 2 staff conditions suggested. First is the standard regarding the filing. I do want to note there's a Scrivener's error in that we only need 1 copy back. I think in the memo it says 2, so just only need 1 copy now. And then the second condition is on acquiring the needed zoning before we record the plat, because we don't want the plat filed for record before the zoning is confirmed by the city board. So we need to have the zoning done first. And with that, I'm available for any questions. Thank you.
Okay, is there any comments from the audience concerning this development? Commissioners?
Chairman, do we know the timetable for the development of the property at this time?
Ben, can you enlighten us, please?
I don't have a precise timetable, although I do know that the church property will be more sooner than the others. Yeah.
Any other comments from commissioners? Okay, remember we need you to raise your hand before you make the motion. Now we are approving a rezoning permit and a final development permit, one after the other. We'll do the final development permit. I'll entertain a motion on item number 3 on our agenda, final plat development permit FP 2102.
Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve FP 21-02 with the following conditions. Applicant must file the plat, Benton County, and provide a copy to the city within 45 days. Applicant must successfully rezone the property as well to G1 as indicated on the attached plat.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve FP 2102. Roll call, please.
McKinney,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Driscoll,
Yes.
Kenzie,
Yes.
Song,
Yes.
Montgomery,
Yes.
Sally,
Yes.
This will go to the board on June the 1st. I will now entertain a motion for rezoning development permit RZ 2103.
Chairman, I'll move that we approve rezoning development permit RZ 21-03.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Smith,
Yes.
Driscoll,
Yes.
McKenzie,
Yes.
Song,
Yes.
Montgomery,
Yes.
Sally,
Yes.
McKinney.
Yes.
This will also go to board June the 1st, 2021. Next item on the agenda is rezoning development permit RZ 21-04. Mr. Rhodes, please.
Yes, thank you again, Mr. Chairman and Commission. So staying with rezoning applications, you're considering a rezoning request to rezone property at 1803 Don Hill Road from A1 to R2, that's single family. And this is occurring to the east of First Baptist Church and north of Copperleaf Drive. Here you see the site plan. Staff has not received any plans for construction yet on the property. However, there has been a lot split application submitted with the for this that will split off the southern part of this area. So access is for part of this will be strictly just from East Copperleaf Drive, and I believe we'll be presenting that at a later point. Here is the future land use map. Pretty straightforward here. It's all zoned or designated as the medium density family, so that fits in with R2, so pretty straightforward. And here is the site looking to the north. So it does include, so it's all zoned A1 now. It does include everything that's in the wooded area, as well as these houses out in the back there, and then coming back in here like that. Staff is in support of the proposed rezoning, and we are available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Is there anyone from the audience that would like to speak to this rezoning? Commissioners? Looks like everyone's done their homework this week, Ben. Okay, I'll entertain a motion for rezoning development permit RZ 21-04.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve rezoning development permit RZ 21-04.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve a rezoning development permit RZ 21-04. Roll call, please.
Driscoll,
Yes.
McKenzie,
Yes.
Song,
Yes.
Montgomery,
Yes.
Sally,
Yes.
McKinney,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes. This will go to the board on June the 1st, 2021. Next item on the agenda is rezoning development permit RZ 21-05. Mr. Ben Rhodes.
Yes, thank you again. Yes, so this is your last rezoning. You're looking at a rezone occurring at 3550 Highway 412 East. And this is going from I-2, it's the light industrial, to C2 roadway commercial. This property is also being adjusted, and I will present that I present on both applications at this time. However, only the rezoning is required for your recommendation. The city board has already accepted easements per the lot adjustment survey that happened on May 4th. Here you see the site plan that was provided with the lot adjustment. The rezoning is only occurring on the piece that's circled in the red. The remainder of the lot will remain as I-2. So the impetus for the rezoning is that the C2 zone allows for a more favorable side-on-corner setback, which will assist in future development of that lot. As you can see, it is fairly narrow there. So that side-on-corner is very important to have that per the C2 zone. The structure here shown that I'm circling there, that will be is an existing house It's been abandoned for a number of years, and it will be demolished upon construction of the on the lot. Here again, the future land use map is confirming the zoning being consistent. It's shown red as for future office and commercial, which it would be what would be appropriate for the C2 zone. And finally, the slide shows you the site. This is looking again to the north. Simon Sager Ave, as you can see, is right on the north of this. That will carry on south, basically, along kind of somewhat of a alignment like that. And the lot adjust survey that I was mentioning does account for that right away coming to the south. So we're not hemming ourselves in with development right across from the street. With that, staff is recommending approval for no needed conditions. I'm very available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Is there anyone from the audience that would like to address the rezoning permit RZ 21-05? Commissioners?
Ben, just so I'm clear, the allowance that we're giving them with the setback reduction, we've accommodated, I mean, we're going to accommodate for the road coming through. We're not going to put our, I think that's what you kind of ended on, but I didn't really understand what you said.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. We're not fronting. Okay, so if I go back to this survey here, we're not. The building will be addressed off of Highway 412, so that is considered the front. So then this side becomes what we call a side on corner property line. So then you would do a side on corner setback with that. So I think hopefully that answered your question.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions or comments from the commissioners?
There's no other questions. I'll make a motion to approve RZ 21-05.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve RZ 21-05. Roll call, please.
Long,
Yes.
Montgomery,
Yes.
Sally,
Yes.
McKinney,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Driscoll,
Yes.
Kenzie.
Yes.
Motion is approved. This will go to the board on June 1st, 2021. Our next item on the agenda tonight is a special use development permit, SU 21-03. Ben, you're up.
Yes, thank you again, Mr. Chairman and Commission. For your last development approval item today, you're looking at special use permit at 305 South Mount Olive Street. The request is allow for a single family home that's currently under construction to be used as a short-term rental. And this best fits in with use unit 10.1 for bed and breakfasts. For the purpose of this review, a short-term rental is considered a lease of less than 30 days, similar to a hotel or motel room. The house is currently under construction and is not planned to be occupied by the owner at this time. Here you see the site plan. This does not pertain to the proposed use as a bed and breakfast per se, but it does show how the building and parking will work on the lot. As I mentioned, the related building permit was approved on the site for a single family home. So your recommendation today will strictly relate to just how the property is used, not the construction of the house or how close it is to the cliff edge or things of that nature, because I know that's of a matter of interest for some people, but that's not what is being presented to the Planning Commission today. So we did want to just show, because the applicant provided this information, just what this will look like when it is finished. This is the side that will face towards the creek. We believe it will be a single bedroom unit with a living and kitchen area below the bedroom up on the top level. The two doors are not indicative of two different dwellings. It's just one's a side door, one's a front door. Here is the letter provided by the applicant. This was, of course, included in your packet as well. I do realize that that's too small for anyone to actually try to read off of the screen. Just to paraphrase, the applicant is requesting special use in the RO zone, which stands for residential office, and that's to allow for a couples retreat. He wanted that close to the downtown amenities, with a design to complement the downtown. Essentially, is kind of what he was saying. And lastly, here you see the site. So staff is in support of the request, as we do not foresee any greater impact than if the property was just used as a traditional owner-occupied single-family home. The number of vehicles will change week by week as it's rented out, but the nature of use will not imply more than one or two vehicles at the property at any given time. There are sidewalks that exist along the front there, so anyone staying there can easily walk down to the downtown amenities by foot. And then, as I said earlier, the parking will be off on the side there, and then the people will walk right into the unit. And with that, we are available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Is there any comments from the audience? Please come up to the microphone, state your name and address for the record, please.
Okay, my name is Ron Jeffries. I'm a resident at 307 South Mount Olive, adjacent to this property. I submitted a letter to Ben Rhodes after receiving notification of the special use development permit meeting. And I thought that might be in your packet. I don't know if it is or not with regard to this. Is it?
Yes.
Oh, it would be, okay. So do you have any questions on what my comments were, or?
We're listening for your comments.
Oh, okay.
To the
All right.
commissioners.
Okay, yes, sir. That's my first time being here
Okay,
at a meeting
no
like
problem,
this.
I understand.
First of all, it is nice after all these years and numerous owners to see the property being developed. And hopefully this will be a solution to some of the problems that, because of the vacancy of that property, like people using drugs down there and people seeking shortcuts to the downtown park and other loitering, especially late at night. My understanding is it'll be used as an Airbnb, but now I understand it could be an extended use for more than a few days, or was that what you had mentioned?
1 month or less is my understanding.
Okay, 1 month or less, okay. And also that it is a two-story dwelling, correct?
Yes.
Oh, okay. My question, one question I would be, other than the building, what improvements are planned for the property? There are some things that are a significant problem adjacent to our property that might be considered by the owner and the planning commission. The original wood fence, I'm not sure how to draw in here, if there is a way, but as you see in the lower part of that picture, you'll see a little kind of a rectangular grass plot above where the lower part of the building foundation is. That's up on the same level as our property, and then there's a fence that runs along that retaining wall there. That fence originally built by an owner many years ago that was really poor materials and really not appropriate materials, and it is significantly deteriorating and dangerous. there's also, and my question is, is that something that would be addressed? At the time it was built, it was required for that because of the retaining wall there on our property. On their property, but the fence adjacent to our property. In the northeast corner of the property, that you can't really see on that picture, but it'd be behind the tree in the lower right-hand corner. There's an old foundation below the retaining wall there that has broken down, partially broken down and deteriorated, that is close to the block retaining wall that was built. My concern is that if it deteriorates and breaks down further, it could endanger the block retaining wall that's just above that and create a problem. Let's see, there's, and that upper portion, that little rectangular area on the other side of that, I guess that would be a utility area because water and electrical goes through there. But the previous owners have been very respectful in accessing that area through our property to mow and to trim it, and would be something that I would ask of the current owners as well. And really, the reason I bring these things up, I'm a retired maintenance manager, and I still have ingrained a tendency to look toward preventive measures as a solution rather than future problems. And I'm really happy to see that somebody's developing that property, and it's a good idea. The way they're solving the dilemma that past owners have had in deciding how to build a residence on that lot and how to use it. And I really wish them every success in their endeavor.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments. Are there any other comments? Yes, ma'am, please come to the podium. State your name and your address.
My name is Carolyn Rude, and I own the property that is west of this property across the street on Mount Olive. And I do have a large parking lot.
Ma'am,
Ma'am,
pardon?
what's your address?
We need your address.
It is 308 South Mount Olive.
Thank you.
I have,
Go
it
ahead.
was a business there,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, ma'am.
And I had looked at this property to purchase it, but I couldn't see that there would be a lot of parking if you were to have company or whatever. So my son and I discussed this, and I do have a large parking lot with my business, but I don't want it used, without permission. So I wanted that to be known because I use that myself. And so that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Thank you. It'll be noted in the record. Is there anyone else? Please step to the microphone, give you your name and your address for the record, please.
I'm Chad Dilday. I'm the owner of this property.
Your address, please.
514 Tiger Boulevard,
Thank you.
Bentonville. My address, 305, I guess, is this address. But in reference to the fence, I didn't know that I owned that fence. I'd be glad to fix it. And if do you know if that's on your land or mine?
It's on your property.
Okay. So, yeah, I surely wouldn't want anybody falling off of that. And in regards to I don't know what happened with the grading on this lot prior to me purchasing it. I've seen the foundation that he's speaking to. I don't think it's a requirement that I build a retaining wall, but that is part of the plan for us to retain that hillside there It looks pretty stable, but, and actually we've got a drainage plan that we're gonna move the drainage that comes in on the roof of the house underground and around the wall as well. But we are planning to probably, if it's required, permit a wall, and if it's not required, to retain as much as that as possible to stabilize whatever this grading situation was that somebody did. As far as the parking, I think we'll have sufficient parking. I've done a Airbnb of this size in Bentonville. Usually when we have a couple come, we got one car. And usually not a lot of visitors or those types of things. So I'd be glad to put in their instructions that they're not allowed to use your property. So I just wanted to address those things.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Last call for audience. Anyone else? Okay, commissioners, your turn.
And probably my only question is just in terms of how this got to this point, when they pulled the building permit, and I know you mentioned in staff discussion that it was realized after that, you know, that what would the city realize what was going to be used. Is there some disconnect there, or how is this normal maybe to, I mean, because he's already broke ground, I mean, he's going.
Yeah, there was, well, when the application came in for the building permit, it was shown just to be a single-family home. We did meet with the applicant earlier and discussed a variety of menu options. Airbnb was certainly one of them. There were some other options that he had for the property. But I think once it became a firm concept that we knew what it was, and we had some internal staff discussions as to how to do the permitting for these, we came to the conclusion that he requires a special use permit.
Okay, so probably just more of a newer process for us at the city then.
Yeah, Airbnbs are new
Okay.
somewhat in terms of government regulations. Many cities are not just now coming to that point where they're trying to regulate them, and so Siloam is along with everyone else in that regard. So.
And good luck with your quest identifying those that already exist, yeah. I see that.
Thank you, Ben.
Mr. Chairman, following along with that, I know that there are a number of other properties used in town as Airbnbs, and some of them are used sort of, I think, a majority of their time as Airbnbs. Is there any discussion going on about whether those need to be?
Yes.
Or they're in some way?
Letters have been sent out to those owners, and they'll be coming to commission shortly, next couple months. So stay tuned.
All right, thank you, Ben.
Yep.
Any other questions by the commissioners? With that, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve SU 21-03.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve SU 2103. Roll call, please.
Montgomery,
Yes.
Sally,
Yes.
Kenny,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes?
Driscoll,
Yes.
McKenzie,
Yes.
Song.
Yes.
The motion is approved for special use SU 2103. It will go to the board on June the 1st, 2021. The next item on the agenda is a comprehensive plan monthly update, which is in the packet. Is there any questions by the commissioners on the update that you received? Next item on our agenda is board approval permits. Mr. Rhodes.
Yes, thank you again, Mr. Chairman and Commission. So we're transitioning now on the agenda to the board and staff approved permits. For the item going directly to the city board, This is a final plat that does have a corresponding preliminary plat. So no recommendation is required from the commission for this. However, we do want to keep you informed of what's going on, and so that's why it's being presented now. And the request is to finish out phase 2 of the Sweet Homes addition, and this is adding another 14 single-family lots to the subdivision. Here you can see the site plan. It essentially is a new cul-de-sac that will be coming on off of Carl Street. And finally, this is the site view. I've been told that this addition is more or less finished at this point, save for a few minor punch list items that have to be addressed. So this goes to the board on June 1st with staff recommendation for approval. Any questions? All right. If there's no questions, I'll move on to the last bit of the agenda. We have a staff-approved lot line adjustment. This is 606 and 612 North Madison Street. It goes to the board next week for easements. And here you see the site plan. It essentially is just adjusting the lot line here to bring that parcel back down to, or the shed with this property, and then having this one smaller, both owned by the same individual. So that's why they're doing that. And with that, I have open up for any questions.
Misters, you got any questions of Mr. Rhodes? Well, with that bit of information, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Well, motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, so signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.